I think what we'll go ahead and set space. So if you want to get comfortable, take a deep breath in. And we're just going to call all the elements of life in, our ancestors, crystal light beings, our teams, bringing all the energies of the east, the great eagle, the element of air, the sacred breath, the frequencies of yellow jasper to work with us in whatever way serves us today. We call in the energies from the south, the guardian of the south, the great serpent, the element of fire, sacred heart. We invite the red jasper to infuse our circle with its energy and vibration. We call to the west the mother sister jaguar, the element of water in the sacred womb. The very essence of black tourmaline comes in to ground us and support us in this place, in this circle. We call to the north the wise owl, the element of the air, our sacred body. We invite in the ancient wisdom. His howlite holds space for our connections and our weaving in this circle today. And we call in Gaia, that nurturing earth rising from below to above. We open ourselves to receive the crystalline mandala of creation and her healing energies. And Father, Son, and the celestial heavens, we bring in to celebrate this moment in the sovereign space we've created in this beautiful circle as the rays of the yellow and the orange crystals shower upon us. Our circle is protected and watched over by the PTO and our guardian brothers and sisters. We are surrounded by the light of our divine sovereignty and grace. We are called to stand in the circle as we are working in the field of divine good for all. Oh, and then we'll just go ahead and do a little check-in, where you are and your name and what you would like to bring into the crystalline field today. So I'll go ahead and start. I'm here in Byron, Illinois. It's sunny and 50 degrees. So I got a little tree time today. Those days are fading. And I would like to bring in the word weaving. And I will tag Cinda.
I'm in West Lynn and I just got in from a walk and I'm all hot and bothered and out of breath. My dog swam. I smell like wet dog. It's disgusting. And I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. Things are good. And so I guess I want to bring happy into the circle. Emma.
I am Emma in Northwest Massachusetts. Every morning, early when Sadie wakes me up, we have blue skies. And the second time I wake up, it's not so early. It's gray and cloudy and spitting rain and snow. And it's like, okay. So I also just got back from a walk with Sadie. She vanquished all those sticks. And yeah, just to have her is to experience this deep joy at being alive. So I will call on Sue.
Okay, so I'm in Issaquah and it's been raining all day and it's cold, 43. And I've spent the whole day trying to talk myself into getting dressed and going for a walk. And I ate chocolate instead. I think my energy is low today because tonight at midnight, we start the next round of lockdowns, and I don't want to. Even though I isolate here all the time and I'm okay with it, I want Thanksgiving. I want Thanksgiving. And we may do it anyway. We'll just all stay home for the week or 10 days before. And I think we may do it anyway, because that is just, it feeds my soul. And sometimes we have to do what we have to do. So I don't know what space I'm in today. We'll just have to figure it out as we go along. Kelly?
Kelly here in Portland, Oregon. I too just got back from a walk. And I am loving the rain. My face, I mean, it doesn't matter what type of rain it is, if it's a slight drizzle or a deluge, my face has to be up and just letting it run over me and drench every article of clothing I have. The word that's coming to mind, and it's activation. And at some points I'm like, activation, my God, really more activation? We're so activated already. And then at the same point in time, there's this activation and grounding. So I'm getting both of those, activation and grounding side by side. And that's what I want to bring into this space today. And Arlie, I'll tag you.
I'm here in Wellington, just outside Wellington, New Zealand. It's a windy day. There's white caps on the harbor. It's cloudy, but it's sunny. It's gonna be a hot one. It's only 11 o'clock in the morning. I can see that coming a mile away. I'm discombobulated. My daughter flew off to the States on Thursday, which has filled me with deep discomfort and fear and trepidation and emotions that I'm not real happy with. She had good reasons. I understand her reasons. She's due back in April, hopefully with her partner. But right now, the word I want to bring to the circle, because it's something that I desperately need, is centered. I need to get centered. And I would like to call on Sharon.
Monday. I have to keep reminding myself what day it is. Today's Monday. And it's amazing what happens to a day that has very little in it, and you get up and all of a sudden there's a lot in it that just shows up. So I'm just grateful to be able to be present to what's showing up. And I'm really, really, really appreciative of what we have, the efforts that we have put in to this circle to give us that pillar of strength and clarity. And so I'm just gonna, I want to bring into that circle stable strength. Susan, back to you.
Beautiful. That's kind of the theme when I sat with the Crystalline Kingdom today, was about bringing an experience in and bringing, choosing a crystal or allowing the crystals to emerge throughout your journey that want to come and work with you. They called it a crystal infusion of our matrix. So kind of a liquid crystal light to come to bring to us today whatever we need to sustain us for this week and beyond. So how they showed me it would work is I'll guide you through just a short little meditation clip, direct the energies, and then you'll just travel with your team and your guides and allow that journey to unfold as it's personally meant for you. They just kept showing me this crazy line pattern and these crazy codes, and things were up and things were down, and it was like all in the matrix field. And they said that this would bring a beautiful infusion of calming, of allowing those codes to align again, for the frequencies within each of us within the circle to smooth out and just kind of bring a calming effect. So either way, you can choose your crystal before you journey. It could be more than one crystals. They said just allow what needs to be fed into that personal matrix of yours to flow into your field. So does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, so go ahead and ground yourself, close your eyes, turn your camera off if you'd like as you journey. Remember, you're going to allow your team to come in and guide you the rest of the way and through your journey. So in your mind's eye, take a deep breath and call to any crystals that you personally work with, that you choose to work with, a field of color of crystals. Bring those energies into your mind's eye. Allow one to emerge as you travel. Call on your team and the crystalline field in the sacred circle to guide you through this beautiful crystalline path. Begin to open your heart and your energy fields with the energy of blessings and appreciation for all that's around you, for the creator that you are of this beautiful matrix around you. Begin to have a sense or a feeling, the energy of the frequency from the stones you have chosen. See them, feel them around you. Allow them to come into your space. Open throughout your entire body. Picture a cup as it overflows with the abundance of water washing through you. This liquid crystalline matrix flowing through you, in you, around you, supporting you, guiding you, uplifting you, restoring you. Embody the vibration of your stone with the expression of joy and gratitude from your heart. See the vibrations of the two elements merging together, the water and the crystal, to form a liquid crystal body matrix. However that comes to you, whatever form that begins to create, whatever it means to you, this crystal body matrix, allowing the water and the frequency to merge together, pouring down through your physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional planes. And as your guides take over and the crystalline kingdom supports you, enjoy your healing, your journey, your experience within the crystalline liquid body matrix. Okay, it looks like we have everybody back. Does anyone need a few minutes to gather their thoughts? Okay, then Emma, would you share first?
Sure. So My team met me here in my home, and then my spirit lifts and we walk out the back door and up into the upper world. It is night, and we walk through the clouds and into a clear winter night sky. The stars are very sharp. We follow a pathway of starlight. There's no moon, just the brilliant stars. Ahead there is a gate of light, and beyond a garden. The flowers are tourmaline, green and pink and yellow and red and blue and purple. As we wander through the garden, I choose a petal from certain flowers that call to me. The garden path leads to a central area, and I place the basket in the center on a pedestal, and we all sit in a circle on stone benches. And we're humming, and with our hands held out to the basket, and we're just raising our hands in waves as we hum. And the essence of the petals begins to rise in a mist that spreads out from the center beyond our circle, beyond the garden, out from the upper world to drift slowly onto this world. And when we're complete, I scatter the petals in a garden area where they will take root and grow, and we return back here. I am complete. Arlie?
Well, first I walked down a forest path to a clearing. It was in a very dense woods, a Pacific Northwest woods is what it looked like. Not so many deciduous trees, a lot more pines. And I came to a clearing, and on the far side of the clearing, there was the stereotypical buck that you see in all the pictures, you know, with the big head of rack of antlers. And so I stopped walking, and all of these animals started coming out around the edges of this clearing. I saw chipmunks, a skunk, a brown bear came, deer, elk. An owl came and landed on my shoulder, and a cougar paced around my feet. So I tried to lift off to see from above what was happening, how big the forest was, and because I love seeing things from up above. And that was not what I was meant to do. I was meant to just stay still in this circle. So I held my hands out toward the animals, and a bubble started forming, not in my hands, but like somewhere around there. I wasn't making the bubble, but it was there in front of me, and it was an iridescent bubble, and the bubble lifted off, and I was able to follow it with my mind as more bubbles were being made. And that bubble went off to my daughter and surrounded her. And another one came in while I was watching my daughter here and surrounded her boyfriend. And I came back to the forest clearing and saw that there were all kinds of bubbles lifting off and going all kinds of different places, all iridescent, different colors shining, going around and around. You know, something more. And this huge bubble formed and surrounded let's see. So I mean, I could see it, and I was always in the circle. I never left the circle. And these bubbles just kept forming. And at that point, I left the person in the circle and I came back, and bubbles of protection are still being formed there and still being put out into the world. And the animals are all a part of it. And that's what I saw. So I'd like to call on Sue, please.
Thank you. So soon as Emma or Susan said crystals, I was immediately in a huge crystal cave. and I could, huge, a cavern. And I could just feel all the energy from these giant crystals working on me and getting me back into balance and back into harmony. And I was just enjoying that. I was resting. And then when you said water, I immediately saw a waterfall and a pool at the bottom of the waterfall. And so I rinsed off and just rinsed off in this pure crystalline water. And then I was remembering last night's meditation that as a child, I remembered the scare that polio was having on the population and the pictures. And then I remembered the fear of AIDS, and that was a huge fear. And people were shunned if they were positive for HIV. And cancer. And all my life, there's been something. And all of a sudden, COVID-19 has a better perspective. I have a better perspective. This is another virus. It's just more contagious. It is deadly. And we get ticker tape readings all the time on it. And so we don't have to wait for the end of the day's paper or watch it once a week. The information is just bombarding us. So it has a huge effect. But I was able to put it into a better perspective that we still have cancer, we still have HIV, we still have the flu, we still have. And this isn't going to just go away. And I choose not to put my life on hold completely, waiting for it to pass. And I had a deep calm come in. And then what came in was, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. That's when the calm came in. And what I saw was that in a state of calm, I am to be a beacon of love and light. And I will do more good grounded, centered, and just radiating love and light. And that will be my power. And I just sat with that. And it felt good. And I'm complete. Cinda?
Thank you, Sue. That was wonderful. Oh my gosh. So when Susan told us to grab a crystal or to think about a crystal or to follow the energy of a crystal, I immediately grabbed my Sedona egg and I just held her, and it just felt so good. And the meditation, Susan, was so beautiful. And I just loved traveling, and I just went nowhere. Well, I did go to Sedona, and I was visiting Sedona. And I thought, all right, why am I here? This is so beautiful. And I just swam. It was like I was flying between all the red rocks, and I was just, oh, so happy. I think it was really the stone that wants to go home. I kind of felt bad now that I have it. And so I was like, I don't remember where I got you. But I ran into Richard. Richard is a man in Sedona that plays his flute on top of a sphere of rocks. And when we were in Sedona, he was there passing out his carved hearts that he out of stone and giving them away, and then hugging people heart to heart. And he says, you know, we need to heal the planet one heart at a time. And so I landed where after I was flying through the rocks, I landed where this guy, Richard, is. And he says to me what I've been hearing, and he says, 1/3, 1/3. It's all it takes. It's just 1/3, 1/3, which is 33.333333333333333333, and then that started a spinning and a spiral. And Richard was sitting there, and he goes up to the sphere and he says, I'm letting the world know it only takes 1/3, and he's blowing on his flute and making all this beautiful music, and this spiral of 33.333333. It's just spinning around and around. I'm kind of seasick from it. And so basically it's just 1/3 of the population needs to remember their individual divinity. And when every person remembers their divinity, nothing can touch them, and all is well. All will be well. Just 1/3, 1/3, 33.33.33, which is of course a master number, which is of course the number of Jesus, which is of course Christ energy, which is of course right where we are in the coming of the age of Aquarius, which is all of it. That spiral of 33.33. Yeah. Kelly.
I just love all these things. So I was taken back. There was a journey I did, I don't know how long ago, and I don't remember what journey it was, if it was time travel or crystal broadcasters, but it was in the depths of the ocean. And I was taken down by the sirens, and the sirens, 9 sirens placed 9 stones, earth stones. They were stones. And, but now when I went into the water this time, it was a beautiful crystal clear, rich blue. And, you know, in terms of, it's just beautiful, just really serene. The water's been showing itself a lot to me lately. And I was taken to the depths now, and the depths where the stones were now are these ginormous crystal pillars. And the, just this, and emanating from these pillars, I mean, I'm talking ginormous. It's like, you know, when I first looked, it was dark and kind of murky when I first saw it, you know, and the sirens were doing whatever they did to show me. And there was do you remember? I don't know if anybody was in that, but there was a light that was activated, and but I couldn't quite see yet what was going on. But now I look at it, and it's like this big thing with these giant pillars coming up of crystals. Again, I don't know my crystals. I couldn't tell you what they are. I would say more quartz, if anything, or even selenite, just because I feel like there's codes in them, but everything has a code in it. So whatever that is. And the water was just so spectacular, so spectacular. And realizing within that moment of, for myself, and maybe you all are experiencing other things in terms of working with water, but really using it as an electrotransmitter. I mean, we use water, but really recognizing how it carries the current of change, and really how, I mean, alchemy in and of itself, all of the elements, but really utilizing the water element in a very precise fashion for whatever context it is. And I know there's been other things that have happened with the water, but this was extraordinarily clear with the clarity of the water and its ability now to carry further a frequency and these codes of the crystals that are undulating underwater. That's what I received. And I'm complete. And let's see, I think Sharon?
Okay. Well, I felt to go and get a crystal from my altar. I think it's a citrine. It's really very beautiful. See? And as I held it, it was to be firm and to face the past and not to go time travel like we do in the time travels, but to stay broadcasting. So broadcasting from this point back in time, to say, no, we are ending genetic trauma. We are ending inherited crippling. So I said, okay, what's the symbol? They said use, I've made galactic glyphs that are bind glyphs under the, with understanding from Kelly about how you can do that with runes. And so I have a divine family bind glyph that holds, this is what the divine families chose. And that's where we hold that frequency of broadcasting it back in time as we activate it in the past to forward in time. So that's what I felt to do, is just say, ending that inherited genetic trauma, crippling, and death, really. And I'm complete.
So I didn't go very far, but into actual matrix field, and there was a pink matrix over my heart, and that was broadcasting out. And I asked, was I transmitter? Was I just, a beacon? And they talked about, they used the word metamorphosis, and it was working and shifting within the DNA. And it was sending those codes out into the DNA, into the light body. So it's feeding everyone's light body, everyone's DNA, which is shifting into that crystalline field, this metamorphosis as we come close to shifting into the age of Aquarius. It's actually preparing our light body and, our DNA for that bigger shift in December when we all, they use the word go over the rainbow. Because today in the big quartz, all I saw were rainbow spheres in her today. And she was just brilliant. And I was getting a little dizzy because they were fractals. And every time I'd look closer, they would just sparkle and shift and change. And I'm like, okay, I got to stop looking at you. So when I asked her today what our work was going to be, she talked about the DNA and broadcasting this into the matrix and this metamorphosis that we're all shifting into, which ties into Cinda's, 1/3, everybody receiving and shifting and, getting us into this new place of divine crystalline field. So that was my crazy travel for today. So if you'd like to unmute yourselves, and anyone that would like to say or put anything into the circle before we go.
I just want to say that I see things almost daily even in my life and in what's going on around us that I really attribute to the work that we're doing. And I know we're not the only one doing it. And so I just want to again appreciate that we've done it, that we've shown up and consistently been there.
I would like to second that, because I follow a couple astrology people, and they were reading Trump's chart, and both of them predicted that Trump would win. And now they are like trying to figure out why he didn't. And then one of them just left town. He actually went to Sedona. He's just like, I'm out of here. And I'm not going to talk about politics, because as far as he's concerned, every single time he has ever used astrology to predict anything, he has always been right, including 4 years ago in 2016. Or no one believed him. And now everyone was believing him, and he has all these followers, and it hasn't happened. And so, of course, we know that astrology, I mean, it's sort of based in science, but then it's the interpretation of that science, right? How do you interpret what you are reading? but yet I am giggling, Sharon, because I think that when we bent that track, or when we rebuilt another track, that the forward momentum is still being what everyone is making their predictions from, but we truly altered that reality from taking place. I mean, it's written in the stars to these astrologers. It is freaking written in the stars. And even with that being so, something different came about.
I
Well,
agree.
I wonder if your astrologer had read the chart after the train track was changed, if a comet, a star position, something wouldn't have given him the information that he needed to change the prediction on Trump, to change the reading on Trump. From his last reading to the election, you know, where in there did the train track change come in?
Yeah, that would be really interesting to see if even, you know, if there wasn't a shift in the energetic. I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised, and it's just not him that made this prediction. I wouldn't be surprised if, and actually this guy is a relative, he's my cousin, but I think he has kept going back and trying to figure out where he went wrong, but he might be looking at the chart over and over again versus bringing down a new chart to look
Right.
at.
Download the new information, because it is said, and I have reason to believe, that if you make big enough changes, the left hand, which tells what will be, you can see the lines changing. You can sit there and see.
In your palm, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When
In palm.
if you read palms.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't that be true for some of these other esoteric studies?
You know, I had a really, really thorough where they do the structure of your eyes and your measurement, and they do phrenology, I think it's called phrenology, and they measure every part of yourself. You know, it was very thorough. And
Iridology, I think.
what's that?
Iridology. Phrenology is reading bumps on your head, isn't it?
No, it's reading the structure of your head. And so
Okay.
it's the bones.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's phrenology. And so here they have the distance of your eyes and all kinds of physical things. And she came and she and went back, did her, and you know, a week or two later, she comes back to talk to me about what this, and she looks at me and she said, "You've changed."
No.
I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "When I was here like 2 weeks ago, and we've got the measurements here, and it's had, you know, because it was in the face, you could see it in the face, your tolerance level was off the chart. Like anything goes. Oh, we'll try anything. Curiosity. That's and she says, you've changed because you no longer will tolerate that huge range." And she was right. I had done some reality statements, done some energy work that said, this doesn't serve. I have to bring discernment in. And so that happened to me directly, Arlie.
So if they were to remeasure you, your measurements would be different.
Yeah, well, she did remeasure me because she could see it was different. So she did remeasure me, and she said, "What have you done? Because your tolerance for, you know, your tolerance level has shrunk." You know, meaning
So
you put boundaries in place.
reality statements, and in doing that, you altered the
changed-
predictions of who and what you were.
I changed the energy codes, which literally shifted the body form. Weird, huh? So possible.
Bone structure of all things, bone structure.
How close the eyes are together. I think it has something to do with how the eyes set. How do you do that?
And I've heard about the lines
Slides.
changing. The only thing that doesn't change are your fingertips, but your palm readings will change as you direct your future to be different.
Yeah, yeah.
Kelly, you
Well,
look
and
like
Well, I'm jumping out of my skin as usual. I have a hard time containing myself. So thank you for your patience with my ineptness and being socially responsible for my actions. So, but I remember when my daughter, we went through this, Cinda, where we saw facial shifts. My daughter's head, my head, we would find cavernous areas in our head where when we were going through
holes.
these.
Mhm.
But something occurred to me along the same thing about this train. So of course we shifted the trains. The train was caught by a whale's tail piece of art, which threw me down the Atlantean thing. And I wonder too, what was activated in ancient coding too, through the transmission of the water frequencies, because it was the to me, that was very significant that it was a whale's tail that caught the train. So I think that to me, in many ways, there was a trigger of something that was planted maybe long ago, or something that was supported by an ancient technology or something. So when that tail was hit, something else went off. I mean, I think there's a multitude of things. But ever since that happened, I have been playing, and I don't do anything with Atlantean energy. It's just not my bailiwick at all. It's not something that calls to me. But that thought continues to be in my mind about what is that possibility.
Well, what I love is that track, it just went off in the middle of nowhere, and it was caught, and it was like when it stopped, all the bad juju just was taken back to where it belongs, taken home. It's like the train remained, the earthly part, but all the bad juju was shot out into the ethers and sent home. Sue, you were gonna, anyway, Sue's waiting patiently.
It's just about the same time I was getting this vision that there was just a transformation. And so it's just this, to me, it's confirmation of everything else we're saying, is that there was an energy shift. And when I got a week or 10 days before the election, was that Trump was going to win. And this huge feeling came in of compassion. And it was just a huge compassion for him, and to just forgive him. So it came through me. I didn't do this. It came through me, and it shifted. It shifted something. And I set my intention that this energy that is so destructive can't move forward. My intention was that somehow there has to be a shift. This can't move forward. We can't do another 4 years. So whatever happened, there was a whole lot of us that were called to do something. And I find that absolutely fascinating, just fascinating.
And I know, Kelly, there were Atlantean groups that took the codes from Atlantis, who are here on the planet now. They're definitely a part of all of this.
Yeah, I'm feeling it extraordinarily strongly, and it's like I said, but and that's a whole nother conversation, and I don't want to side rail, but yeah, I'm feeling something really profound there.
One thing before we close, and thank you, Susan, is that next week, I mentioned it last Monday, that I want to take time in this group to talk about what we've done, what we've learned, what we want to maybe expand, how it might be even more powerful. Just have that kind of open conversation that's maybe more like a business meeting, a brainstorming meeting to get ideas, because we're at this point where there's a lot of expansions possible, but not if we don't open the door to what's emerging within you. So I will set out a little reminder about that, but that's what next Monday's meeting will be focused on. And I'm sure we'll do some kind of a meditation in relationship to, what we can speak our word for. But the major part is going to be that as the agenda. So.
Perfect. And Susan, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I found this little note in one of my classes on how crystals work when I teach class. And there's a part about water in it. So it says water is a crystalline structure. Our human body is made up of 60% water. Our brain and hearts are composed 73% water, and our lungs are about 83% water. This makes our physical bodies able to connect with the energy field and crystal broadcast out. So when you're talking about the Atlantean energy, that's powerful crystalline energy to broadcast out. All that water, that frequency is able to conduct and flow through everything. So very powerful.
Susan, I wanted to thank you for the beautiful meditation. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, yes, absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really quickly, Arlie. So I have a exchange student sister from high school that lives in New Zealand, and she's a pharmacist that works specifically with the Maori tribes. She's Maori herself, and she speaks for Parliament there. She speaks in their favor. She speaks about keeping them healthy. Anyway, I said, I have a friend, Arlie, that lives in Wellington. And she goes, I'm in Wellington once a month. Give me her name and I'll look her up.
That would be great, because my husband is on the DHB, the District Health Board, and he is doing Maori outreach.
Okay, so they probably work together. Maybe they meet once a month.
I don't know. Is she on the District Health Board? That's the thing. If she's down here once a month, she might be, but I don't know. Of course, no, she would have to be living in the area. I don't know what the hell. But Richard wants to do more outreach because there's a big problem here with equity in healthcare.
Yep, there is. She talks about it all the time.
Yep. I could go on.
Would you mind giving me your phone number that I can
give me? Oh yeah, 021
193
193 3323.
3323. And
Our
Arlie, what's your
country code is +64.
Well, but she won't need to dial that if she's local.
Oh no,
right?
she won't. She will not
Okay.
need to dial that. But if you give me your email address, I can, send you.
Oh, okay, good. We'll exchange. So it's Cinda, my name, .Lonsway @gmail.
Good. And I'm Arlie.Stein.
Why don't I just put your two emails together and send it to both of you?
Oh, all right. That'd be great. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I write it down wrong.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
And Arlie,
Everybody else doesn't need to have to hang around and listen to this. The DHB.
Yeah.
So Arlie, I don't know, in all of our circles, and I think we've mentioned it here, but maybe not. If not, you may not know. In all of our circles, we have what we call code love.
Yes, I have heard of that. I do know that.
And so I'm wondering, would you like us to do code love on behalf of Evie and her boyfriend to just hold them in energy?
Well, let me ask a question first. Right now, she's fine. I was thinking that if something happened, that I would ask for that so that energy wouldn't be diverted from people who are more needy than she is at this moment.
There is
I
no
don't-
limit in energy.
Please hold my daughter and her partner. Oh my God, that would be so wonderful.
Yeah. Proactive here. I forgot his name.
Weston.
Weston. Okay.
Yep, Weston and Avi.
Mm-hmm.
Is Avi the one that stayed behind, or is she the one that came with?
Aviva, yeah, her real name is Aviva. Avi's her nickname, but Aviva is the one who flew to the States in order to establish partnership, cohabitation and partnership with Weston so that she can get him here to New Zealand on a partnership visa. He had tickets to come here in June, but the country shut down and he wasn't allowed to come. And they hadn't lived together, so he doesn't qualify for a partnership visa. So she had to fly there so that they can live together. I mean, she had to put her life at risk flying over there and do the 2 weeks of hard isolation in government-run facilities when she comes back, and pay $3,000 for the privilege of being locked in a hotel room.
Ouch.
Yeah,
But
so
love,
code love, code love.
yeah,
Right.
great.
And just to end on a interesting little note, of update on our crystalline harmonic spray. It went through the Zyto scan test, and this beautiful woman who was willing to be our test pattern. She was 78 years old. She had lost 6 people in her life in the last year and a half. Enormous amount of sadness, sorrow, disconnection. So the scan picked that up, this grief and sadness. And there are markers that are out when you're not in balance, according to the scan. So she had 342 markers out of balance. And we took the radiant spray and we just sprayed the front of her blouse, and rescanned her 5 minutes later. And her scan, her out of body markers went from 342 down to 79 with just 3 sprays of radiant. And the other thing the computer program suggested for her was to get a massage, and she wasn't going to have a massage that day. So we encouraged her to go ahead and do the massage just to see what would happen. Scanned her after that. She had no markers out of bounds. She was completely at 0. Her physical body, emotional, spiritual was all in line. And then the crazier part of it is it comes up with frequency codes, and they were coming up with all angelic frequency codes, 222s, 111s, 444s. And they had no idea of the infusion of the angelic kingdom through the alchemical process. I never had mentioned that. And they really didn't know what properties were infused in the radiant as well. So they were talking about this angel thing, and you know, this doctor sitting, she's like, I cannot quantitate where in the world this is coming from and how this is shifting this computer program. And she said, and then the crazier part is, she says, where is this angelic stuff coming from? And she's looking at me and I just laugh, and I'm like, well, so that's because it's all working together. It's infused in there. So it was very exciting the last couple of days working with the sprays and trying to get a scientific marker to them. So they are now added into the catalog, into the Zyto scan, as products that will come up as frequency if they monitor and they, you know, correlate with the frequency that are in there as per their description. So we have a doctor from Mayo Clinic that has witnessed this amazing switch and how powerful the frequencies are. And she just keeps saying, I don't know how this is happening, she said, but it's amazing. So very excited about the crystal broadcasting.
Wow. Susan, do you think that also impacted you working with the crystalline harmonics, that is also one of the things that impacted your own personal health, where all of a sudden you had no more autoimmunity?
I would have to say that has to be a huge impact as well. You know, from watching how the scan is working, and, you know, just 3 sprays of the frequency, you know, took those markers from in the 300s down to a 79. So powerful in the field. So think about that.
Could she feel the shift in herself?
Oh, she did. I mean, 78 years old, she was like skipping out the door. She was stretching her hands. She was like, I've never felt better in my entire life. And, you know, so the next part of it is to see the lasting effects, you know, to rescan her and to see what shows up in her field. If, you know, the sadness comes back, if she has to continue to use the spray. But we're very excited that, you know, so very
So
cool.
I'm sorry, is there a spray that's actually called Radiant?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I have
Susan.
4, but I don't have Radiant.
Yeah.
What,
Yes.
Susan, when you say scan, what do you mean scan?
You put your hand on a cradle, an electronic cradle, and it's connected to the computer, and it scans your body through the frequency of your body, and it tells you what's out of resonance, the frequencies within you. So what foods are aggravating you, what your immune system's doing, what your organs are doing. So it prints out a frequency report and tells you what's out of balance. And then at the bottom of the report, it gives you suggestions to bring your body back into balance. It suggests crystals, it suggests herbs. And the very hysterical part is it always tells me I need counseling. Everyone at the bottom of my scan, it says, yep, needs counseling. I'm like, okay, I got it.
That's why we're here together.
It'll suggest colors, it'll suggest herbs, it'll suggest homeopathic remedies. I mean, this database is nationwide. And so it'll come up with all these different products as it, it will suggest the range of products for that particular frequency to balance it out.
What is that scanner called?
It
Zyto?
really, I've seen that coming as the new medicine.
Mhm.
I just didn't know somebody actually had it.
Yes, it's called Zyto, Zyto.
And-
V is in Victor, VYTO.
Z is in zebra. Mhm,
Oh, wow. Awesome.
YTO.
Fascinating.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with Susan, and because of Susan's work over the years, she has this connection, and so what they're doing is they've been scanning some of the crystalline harmonics. I don't know if you got that. They've been scanning some of the products so that they could see what they were all about, so that they could also then be recommended when needed. So they would be in that whole database. Pretty cool.
Very cool. The new medicine. That's awesome.
Thought I could share a report to see what it looks like, but I don't see it. Try one more time. Nope, I don't. Let's see. My screen saving skills or my screen sharing skills are not. I don't know how to do that.
So this is something anybody can buy.
You have to be a physician or certified. There's quite a rigorous training to go through. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Let's see if this works. Can you see the little dots?
Yes. Yeah.
Where'd they go?
Yeah, we can see them, Susan.
Oh, okay. And so this runs it through, and it gives you balancers. It'll tell you, what it suggests for products. This is an old one, so we're not in here yet. All different products for what's out of balance. And then at the bottom of the report, it'll talk about organs, core systems, organs.
All through your hand?
Yes. Yep. It's through your hand. Yep. All through the vibration. Sleep pattern.
All those points land in your hand. That's why.
Right.
A hand analysis.
Then toxic stress. I mean, it covers enormous amount of information.
What made you decide to do this?
This doctor landed at my friend Patty's massage. Patty had met her. And so she came to do these scans at Patty's massage place. And she said, you need to do this. And so I was talking to, she said, bring your sprays. She said, because this report's all about frequency and working with frequency. So bring your sprays when you come to get scanned and talk to Susan about it. So she was really intrigued, and I left her a couple samples. And, as the doctor, she's got to scientifically play with it and measure it and, do her blind studies to see, you know, the effects on how it's working with her patients. So she started doing that and then found that this program, she could add a package which will tell crystals, and then this will tell you essential oils, but it has a bigger frequency pattern to it. So we could scan them in and charge the spray with a frequency and adapt it into the program. So that's what we started doing.
So does
Amazing.
anybody remember
Wow.
reading a set of books called The Life and the Teachings of the Masters of the Far East? So in one of the later books, there's a description of a doctor who asked, this is back at the turn of the century, asked for all the fatal patients to be brought to a specific clinic with their files. So they had, I don't remember, 75, 90 people. I don't remember what it was. And they scanned them and it showed where the black spots were, the disease, the block. And it says, you are focusing, they showed them, there's your picture, there's your body. See the black spots? Yes. You're focusing on the black spots and the black spots are increasing. Focus on the light. And within 5 minutes of watching their energy, they all walked out with no black spots. Every one of them was cured and they were all diagnosed as dying. And there was no hope of any of them turning around. And it just felt true. It didn't feel like a fantasy. It felt true when I was reading. Well, I've read it 5 times. It feels true each time I read it. And this last time I read it, it's like, this is coming. I know this is coming. Because all you have to do is show the energy. Focus on the colors, the brightness, the aliveness, and the aliveness takes over. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. I think it's real. So yeah.
Well, thank you. I had to share. I was so excited.
Congratulations, Susan. That is huge.
Well, the co-creation between Sharon and myself, you know, that it's all possible. So
Fascinating.
we'll take it one step at a time and see where it goes. And
Well, Sharon was saying that, you know, before this was ever done, Sharon, you would describe it as being this, it's like it's alive. These sprays are alive. They have an energetic shift. It's just not something pretty that's going to make you feel good. It changes everything and everyone in the room. And now you have proof.
I could feel it when Susan was talking about spraying it. I felt it. I literally felt the energy coming out was
I did too.
alive.
I did too. Especially right where like my blouse just got damped by the spray.
Oh, this makes me want to cry.
we're
This is
very excited.
wow.
I had to call Sharon. I was pulling out of I was pulling out of the doctor's office. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. I
mean, this is what's possible when you're in collaboration, listening, sharing, and allowing things to come together. So, I mean, this is part of what happened because of the Crystal Broadcasting program.
Right.
And asking for a director, help co-director, and Susan, and ideas started coming. And this is one piece of the possibility that we are holding just within our community. It could be mind blowing if I let myself go there. But one step at a time. Avi Weston.
Avi.
Oh yeah, Avi. Yeah, what did I say?
Avi.
Heavy.
And it has an ah sound.
Yeah,
Aviva.
it does, and I know that because I know Avi. But you know,
Yeah, I know. It's because you read it.
yeah,
And
it's
you're-
in my head because I just
Yeah.
send out an email.
Yep.
It is Avi. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for hanging in there. And
Thank you, Susan. Good job today. Have fun.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, loves.
we'll see you
Love you
Monday.
all.
Bye.
Bye.